I guess it helps if I turn on the microphone, doesn't it? Well, all right, let's do that again. I know that was kind of strange. No worries. Welcome to the Houston Roundball Review TAKEOVER, powered by JM&E, streaming live, courtesy of the BS3 Network, BS3 TV, new website that I discovered, BS3TVLive.com, in addition to BS3Network.com. Watch us on YouTube, Twitch, Musk. I call it Musk. I don't call those other names. Musk, Fire TV, and Roku. I am Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Forgive my faux pas there. Thank you very much for sticking with me. We're going to talk some sports, talk some basketball, talk some football, talk some Cougars, some Houston Cougars football. Thank goodness they made a change for the better. Finally made a change for the better. Got a new head coach, Coach Willie Fritz, already started the ground running. Coach Fritz is at the game, the men's basketball game, Wednesday evening between Rice and Houston inside Fertitta Center, the place that Tillman built, paid for, basically. Just remodeled Hall-Fines Pavilion. If you see the the tunnels and stuff, you still see the shell is Hall-Fines Pavilion. The Cougs won that game easily, 75-39, 75-39 Rice. We'll talk about Rice another time, another show. But Rice Owls head coach Scott Perry was very, very complimentary of head coach Kelvin Sampson and the job they've done, the program they've established. Coach Perry believes that the Cougars defense traveled. It's going to be really hard for teams in the Big 12 to win inside Fertitta Center. Defense on the string. The Cougars defense is ahead of the offense. And that's even with Emmanuel Sharp, LJ Cryer, Terrence Arsenault, all those players. The defense is really, really playing at an elite level. Salute to them. But also, more importantly, back to Coach Fritz. He spoke to the fans at halftime briefly. He said for, I think, the third time publicly, reiterated that his goal, one of his goals, is to have his Houston Cougars football team, his football players, play as tough as Kelvin Sampson has his men's basketball team. So that is one of Coach Fritz's goals, is to have the football players be known for their toughness, just like the men's basketball team is for the Cougars. Thoughts on that, Corey Miller? Yep, Corey had a little brain cramp there. I was debating whether or not I should begin today's show with a song, and so I turned off my mic to test everything out, and then I forgot to turn it back on. But oh well, no worries. On this edition of the Takeover, gotta touch on it. And thank you very much for chiming in on Facebook. Appreciate that. Another supporter, another alum, met her. Was that Sunday's basketball game? I think we talked about UH athletics. So thank you very much, Corey. Salute to you for your support, Tony M. Salute to you, Tony M. Later on this evening, tonight, probably 9 o'clock, going to do a Let's Talk Houston Rockets. Got a surprise there, a pleasant surprise. It'll be in that upper right corner of the Let's Talk Houston Rockets. Tony M., loyal supporters and followers of the LTHR shows know what I'm referring to. It'll be in the upper right corner, a pleasant surprise. So yes. All right. Some American Athletic Conference news, some big news earlier today. Maybe 2 hours ago. Commissioner Mike Aresco, who I met in my time covering the Cougs in the American, announced he's going to retire. Mike Aresco, the American Athletic Conference's only commissioner in the league's 11-year history, has announced his plans to retire at the end of the 2023-24 academic year. Aresco will remain as the American's commissioner through May 31st, 2024. Quote from Mr. Aresco: "It has been the supreme privilege of my long career in sports to have had the opportunity to lead this great conference from its reinvention in 2013 and to represent its outstanding student athletes, coaches, and administrators. I am grateful to the board of directors for giving me this opportunity to serve. It would take many pages to list this conference's numerous athletic and academic accomplishments. There have also been some disappointments and difficulties along the way, most notably the P5 G5 divide, realignment, college football playoff access for our deserving teams, and some competitive heartbreak in big games. But these have not affected in any way my enthusiasm in leading this terrific and resilient conference or my optimism for its long term future. I would like to thank everyone associated with this conference for their significant contributions, and also my friends and colleagues in the college community for their goodwill and concern for the greater good of the collegiate enterprise. End quote. Commissioner Mike Aresco stepping down, going to retire. Probably, I don't know, may get into some consulting after retirement from being the commissioner of the American. But as I said, I met him in 2013 when the AAC was formed. I was one of the handful of media to attend the very first men's and women's basketball media days. I was there. I was in Uncasville for the women's media day at the Mohegan Sun Arena. And then a day later, I was in FedEx Forum for the men's basketball media day. So I've been there since the beginning. So if you're wondering, why are you talking about the American? Why the Cougars are in the Big 12? I know. But I've been with the American, covering the American since the beginning. And now that Rice is in the American, I'm still going to cover the American, but also the Big 12, because that's part of what the Houston Roundball Review is. Local name, global perspective. So that also means national. I don't just cover the Rockets, the Cougs, Rice. I cover conferences, Big 12, the American, the SWAC, the NCAA. That's what I do, part of what I do. And through that, I met a few new mentees that I'm going to try to help get their careers off the ground, give them some advice, try to help them not make the mistakes I made in my career, early in my career, going on 30 years of the Houston Roundball Review. Met two of them over the weekend. Going to try to help them. So this is part of paying it forward. Folks helped me to get established, so I'm just trying to pay it forward and do my part to keep this thing going. Tony M, Rocket fans, Corey make you wonder sometimes if the Rockets are rolling at home and still winless on the road, 0-8. Had a good win Wednesday night over OKC, 110-101. I was not at that game. I was at UH Rice. I've started watching the recording of the game, and I've noticed, Corey, Rocket fans, everybody watching here on Facebook and YouTube and Roku and Twitch, Fire TV, there weren't many folks at the game last night. Rockets are rolling at home. The announced attendance was like 16,000. There was not 16,000 people inside Toyota Center Wednesday night to watch the Rockets and a good young OKC team. What's up with that? Chet Holmgren, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, OKC got a young, very talented squad winning. Rockets are winning at home. I mean, I know C.J. Stroud and Texans are rolling now, and I know it's a football town, but damn, there might be maybe 13,000 people there at the game last night, maybe. Rocket fans, y'all won a winner. Rockets are winning at home. I know they're still winless on the road, but that kind of surprised me. But I'm going to put this up. I hope that my Pistons will have a win by January 1st, but who knows? But the Rockets and Pistons made an announcement on Wednesday. They're collaborating for the NBA's first dual theme night, featuring bobbleheads of twins, Amen and Oscar Thompson. Rockets and Pistons are collaborating to host dual twin night themes for their games against each other on January 1st at Toyota Center and on January 12th at Little Caesars Arena. See the picture of the bobblehead right there. Twin night for both teams will feature giveaways of interlocking bobbleheads of Amen and Oscar Thompson, with each game's set outfitted in the uniforms the players will wear on that respective night. The Rockets will distribute 5,000 bobbleheads for their home game against the Pistons on New Year's Day, January 1st, 2024. The first 100 ticketed fans who arrive dressed alike, Tony M, for the Rockets game on January 1st will be invited to a special happy hour. Happy hour, I like that. Two of my favorite words, happy hour, which will include drink and food specials. The Rockets Twin Night will also feature twin first shot contestants, twin DJs, and a special performance by the Clutch City Dancers. Something to look forward to, I think. Sounds like a good idea. And like I said, hopefully, Detroit will have a win by then, by January 1st or January 12th. They've lost, let's see, what is it now? 18 in a row or 19 in a row? 2 and 20, 2 and 19, something awful. Marcus Sasser's struggling. UH alum, he's struggling. He's had one good quarter in like 2 weeks. One good quarter, shooting the ball. One good quarter in 2 weeks, so he's struggling. Counting on him. Veterans are struggling. When they're not throwing the ball away, they're throwing up bricks or not playing defense. Add all that up, that's why you've lost 18 straight. So, but the Rockets looking good at home. They're 9-9 overall. 9-1 at home, 0-8 on the road. So what's up with that? Why are the Rockets 0-8? One reason, Jalen Green is not playing well on the road or as well as he plays at home. Tony M says he doesn't want to blame the refs on the road. You know I won't do that. As a media person, I won't do that. But Rockets won't have the same intensity. The Rockets defense is lacking on the road. They answered every run OKC made Wednesday night at home. We'll see what they do Friday against the Nuggets. But any theories on why the Rockets are Jekyll and Hyde, home and away? What's the difference? What's going on? It'll end eventually, just like. Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much. At some point, that streak is going to end. Detroit will not finish 2-80, I hope. Because even if they did, that's still not a guarantee of them winning the lottery. It's so sad. Man, oh man. But I digress. Back to Coach Fritz. And it's a good point, because I'm going to touch on this during this show, during the takeover, so why not right now? From Corey Miller, I've seen more pics of Fritz recruiting in 2 days than I saw Dana's entire tenure. Wednesday night was another example of that. Coach Fritz arrived with his wife. They sat courtside for the first half of the basketball game between the Coogs and Rice. Halftime, he gave a hello pep talk to the fans, then spoke to the media a little bit in the tunnel, and then worked his way up to the fan section where media sits. So he was roughly 4 or 5 rows in front of me and my colleagues at our tables setting. And who's he talking to? Recruits. There were some current players sprinkled in those seats where Coach was talking to. He, shook hands, talked to everyone there. Those 2 or 3 rows around him, talked to everybody there. Football players, recruits, fans. Took time to post pictures with some fans. But throughout that second half, he was talking to football players. He just gets it. He's more personable than that previous person who I'm trying very hard to not name him anymore going forward. The messaging is different. Coach Fritz's message it's about delivery. It's about how to make fans, people comfortable and willing to listen to you and believe in you and believe in what you're saying and believing in that what you're saying you can get done. So Coach Fritz is already on it. And a little tidbit, I won't say, take care, Corey. Have a good class, man. Thank you for chiming in, as always, and watch me and Willie this Sunday on Folk Talking Sports. Toward the end of the game, before Coach Fritz left, I was talking to someone I've known a long, long time who is quite connected to the high school sports scene. Basketball, football, high school sports. We were talking hoops. But when I was done talking to him, Coach Fritz couldn't come up the steps. And my friend, colleague, took time to introduce himself to Coach Fritz. Talk about football. And do some, Coach, I got some kids you might want to look into, help you out, blah, 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 blah. Coach Fritz did what he's supposed to do. Took note of it, exchanged info. Thank you for your time. We'll keep in touch. That's what it's all about, people. That's what it's all about. You make those contacts, make those connections. You never know who can help you with a player, who might know someone who knows a player that you're trying to recruit, that you're trying to bring on campus. You never know. Heck, some folks, some of my alums and folks don't realize who I know. And it'd be nice of them to realize who I know and help support the Houston Roundball Review, Folks Talking Sports, Les Ridge Coogs, Roundball Review TAKEOVER, et cetera, with some advertising. But yes, Coach Fritz is on it. Tony, he's on it. Now he's got to produce. He's got to re-recruit, get his current players to stay committed. There's a few sprinkling in here and there into the portal. Nothing major. No, not really any impact players. Paul. Well, it's my show. Well, I mean, AJ, don't hate on me. AJ or Ben, don't hate on me for putting this up. The former coach would have been downing shots at the bar last night. Well, Paul, I'm going to say you might not be wrong. I'll just put it like that. I'll phrase it like that. Folks who know what Paul's referring to. It's been hinted at, suggested strongly. So I'll just put that there as well. Have y'all, Cougar fans, have y'all had a chance to read the article in the Chronicle that my colleague Joseph Duarte put out yesterday with basically reasons why President Khator, Rena Khator, you great President Chancellor, what she said was basically the final nail in the coffin to convince her to move on from as Paul stated so nicely, the former coach. Basically, Madam President, heard the comments that the former coach said regarding recruiting and the class of 24, saying that ship has sailed. It's over. It's time to move on. President Khator said she heard that. She knew it was time to move on, time to make a change. Because, yes, the team is struggling, but recruiting is an indication of hope for the fans, that talented players are coming into the pipeline, that are coming to join the football team, coming to join the university, coming to join the program. So when she heard those comments from the former coach, that was it for her. The former coach, Houston, with the former coach, was ranked 102, dead last among Power 5 programs in recruiting. That was it. That's enough. Tillman Fertitta was quoted. Dana would have won, one or two of the last 3 games. He didn't do it. The way the team finished, they couldn't finish games. They had leads, didn't hold leads. Tillman realized the bottom line, as I've touched on, as fans who watch this show, follow the Roundball Review on Let's Rage Coogs and all the platforms, social media platforms, the fans had turned off the former coach. They stopped coming to the football games. They were getting in Tillman's ear. You need to make a change, or we're not going to spend any money. So the bottom line also helped convince Tillman to make a move and replace the former coach. Whatever it took, however long it took, I'm glad they got it done. I'm pleasantly surprised they pulled the trigger on it and made a move. It was hinted at to me months ago. I don't believe they were going to do it because they being the administration, have been so reactive for far too long. But they made a move. They seem to finally get it and realize he is not the person for this job to help us accomplish what we want to accomplish, as in competing and winning championships in the Big 12. So let's go get someone who can get it done for us. Coach Fritz seems to be the right person for the job. He's saying all the right things now. He's got to produce in recruiting, and then, of course, on the field once the season starts in the fall, next year. As Paul says, the recruiting was embarrassing. Almost no effort was put into it. Only the bare minimum was put into recruiting. You can't build a culture when half the team is last junior or senior transfer portal guys. The former coach seemed to really want, and I thought about this, me and a colleague were talking about it last night at halftime, that the former coach really wanted to live in the portal, but on another side of his mouth was being critical of Houston, the collectives, not investing enough money to get the kids in the portal. So why would you spend so much time on getting kids from the portal if you believe Houston alums, boosters, et cetera, we're not going to invest, do what it takes to spend the money to get those kids from the portal? Didn't make any sense. You're so critical of everybody. We're not spending enough money. We're not investing. We're not doing our part with NIL. So then why are you spending so much time in the portal? He's gone. The former coach is gone. A new era has begun. It's Fritzmas time for Houston Cougar fans. And Tony M, who was not happy about the former coach at all throughout this season, Tony was very consistent in his disdain for the former coach. H-Town is better than that other guy. Looks really bad when the rest of the city's hitting on all cylinders. Heck, the former coach lost to Rice. Rice going to a bowl because of that part of the reason, because of that win over the Cougs. And a buddy of mine texted this to me earlier today. I didn't think about it, but it's true. The Rice football team scored more points against the Cougar football team than the Rice basketball team did last night. Think about that. Think about that. Rice men's hoops scored 39 points. Football team scored, what was it? Final score was what, 40? What was it, 40? I blocked it out. I know it's 40-something, so think about that. Rice men's hoops scored less than Rice football against the Cougars in the city matchup this season. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Or maybe it is very believable if you've been following both programs. But you are watching me, KG, owner of the Houston Roundball Review, here on the Houston Roundball Review TAKEOVER, powered by JM&E, courtesy of the BS3 Network on BS3 TV, available at BS3TVlive.com and also BS3Network.com. Paul, thank you. By the way, if I haven't, thank you, Paul, for chiming in. I appreciate you spending your lunch break with me here on Lunch Break, better known as, on Thursdays, the Houston Roundball Review TAKEOVER. You got so many choices here, Paul. I think the game against Texas Tech and the Rice debacle, the Cincy disaster, the comment about the recruitment was the nail in the proverbial coffin. There were so many shots to the foot that the former coach gave to himself, and then the fans, the public, and then the tossing of players under the bus, his staff under the bus, the lack of accountability. You want to go there as well. He gave plenty of reasons, I think, for a change to be made. And, and then I was going here, Tony, and then thinking his contract was untouchable. I'm safe. I got the buyout is huge. I'm not going anywhere. Okay. Well, you were proven wrong once again. But he gets a nice buyout, receives a monthly payment for roughly the next 48 months, which will go down if he gets another job at another place, another employer. I'm kind of curious who's going to hire him. I'm kind of curious if he'd get another head coaching job, especially at a Power 5 program. I wouldn't do that, but, stranger things have happened based on who you know, as we all know, as you're an adult, the longer you live on earth, you realize it's not necessarily what you know, but who you know. So real quick, salute to everybody. Thank you for your comments so far. I appreciate it. Keep them coming. Going to take this quick break for about 90 seconds to let everyone know about BS3 TV, what we're all about. BS3 TV, BS3, changing the way you watch TV. Be back in 90 seconds.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to the Houston Roundball Review TakeOver. I'm laughing because I just saw Paul Rogers' comment. I'll put it on the screen in a second. Maisha, thank you as always for your kind words. Let me put that on there. Appreciate it. And Paul, you're rolling, man. You're rolling with some great comments. So the audience is on it this afternoon. Thank you, everybody, for taking time out of your days to watch the TakeOver. Salute to you again. But here's Paul's comment. On a more positive note, Fritz has changed the culture almost immediately from a hungover former head coach to a positive, blue-collar, and engaging program. He has gotten the fan base excited already. Agreed. But now Antonio agrees with you as well, Paul. Now I'm going to say some stuff. Excuse me. Some concerns about the future on the horizon. There we go. That's what I'm trying to think of. On the horizon. The new NCAA commissioner trying to being proactive, unlike Mark Emmert, who I'm not sure he could spell proactive during his tenure as NCAA president. Proposing roughly new payout, basically pay to play, new division, subdivision on the Division I level of athletics, football, basically. But putting out there a proposal for the schools who want to spend money for their players, NIL, agree on, okay, whatever tier, whatever the money cutoff is going to be. His current number is $30,000 per student athlete minimum. Some will go higher. But roughly, if it's $30,000 per student athlete, based on the size of your number of athletes in your program, let's say it's $6 million annually. And as far as I know, this is on top of the scholarships that the athletes are already receiving from their schools. So you got to budget in an extra, at minimum, $6 million per season. Some schools who are currently Power 5, Power 4, Division I, upper tier, whatever, may not be able to afford that. May not be willing to spend that money. I've reached out, currently UH and Cincinnati are part of the last two in ranking in terms of budgetary spending on the Power 5 level. Coogs like at $78 million. Kris has said on the record he'd like to get to about $95 million, I think, for this season, first year in the Big 12, and they get up to like $112 million and continue to grow in the Big 12. Where's the money going to come from? Part of it's going to have to come from tickets, season tickets for football, merch, boosters, all those things. I hope at some point, I'm not going to put a timetable on it, a deadline on it, I should say, but I'm hoping to get a few minutes with Kris once more information has been gathered and studied to get his thoughts on how this proposal from the NCAA president affects UH and could potentially affect UH. Not saying it's gloom and doom, but it is just another hurdle to overcome for Houston Athletics on the big boy scale. This is not the Ohio State. This is not Texas. The Cougs are not making profits from the football games, from athletics overall. So how would this proposal by the NCAA, this new subdivision, which may end up being what, let's say 50 teams, 50 schools, 60, whatever, based on whatever the number is, financial number is for teams willing to pay it to be a part of that exclusive club. Houston will be part of it, but how long will they be able to stay in that club unless certain things change? That's one of my questions and really concerns, is how long Houston could be a part of the exclusive club in the future. Because it's not inevitable unless a lot of things have to change. Is it 5 years, 10 years, 20, whatever? So just food for thought there. And hopefully, like I said, I did kind of run it by Pez last night. Going to try to work out his schedule, my schedule. It'll be recorded, so it won't be live on the Takeover or FTS, anything like that. But I'll record it with him and then post it for everybody to watch and comment, digest, etc. All those kind of, how I do my interviews. If you've watched previous discussions on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit that bell so you can receive notifications. Touched on it again. Rocket fans, I'll have a Let's Talk Houston Rockets live stream show tonight, probably 9 o'clock. Basically to announce some good news, and it'll be shown in the upper right corner. Hint, hint. But also about the Rockets and their success at home and their struggles on the road. So tune in tonight for that on Houston Roundball Review on YouTube at 9 o'clock Central Time. Speaking of Houston Roundball Review, merch. Got to shift gears here, do this. Scan that QR code. Take it to the merch website for the merch, Roundball Review merch, such as Houston Roundball Review mug, local name, global perspective. Take a sip. Salute. Mugs, t-shirts, hoodies. It's cool now. I'm wearing my red hoodie around. I'm going to buy a couple more hoodies. Myself, yes, I buy my own stuff as well. Different colors are available in hoodies, long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, tank tops, short sleeve. So Roundball Review merch is out there. Miss Wanapolk, thank you for your support. So the different ways to support Roundball Review with merch, sponsors, word of mouth, obviously, is great. A lot of different ways to continue supporting the Houston Roundball Review and its media group as I continue to expand. The Roundball Review was at the Big 12 football championship on Saturday. Got approved for that. But yep, I noticed that, Paul. Let's talk about that a little bit. And obviously, well, I'll say obviously, but Rocket fans, every time Josh Giddey touched the ball Wednesday night in the game, he got booed. If you don't know why the fans are booing, Google it. He is being investigated for an alleged relationship with a minor, a young lady. I think the young lady's family hired Gloria Allred to represent her and the family. I think the family is not being very cooperative with the NBA investigation or the police investigation. It's kind of interesting on that. But OKC still has elected to continue letting Giddey play while the investigation is ongoing. The NBA is okay with letting Giddey continue playing while the investigation is ongoing. Do you think that's the right thing to do? Or do you think the NBA should just sit Giddey down until the investigation is complete? I'm not sure how the Players Association would feel about that. But what are your thoughts on that? Little H-Town update for basketball. As I touched on it, men's hoops, Cougs men's hoops, 9-0. Ninth victory came Wednesday night as they rolled over Rice, 75-39. Next game for the Cougs this Saturday, the 9th, versus Jackson State. Jackson State beat Missouri. Missouri is an SEC school. It's a 1-point win. So J-State does have some talent. Mo Williams, head coach Mo Williams, NBA career, is a big admirer of head coach Kelvin Sampson. He looks up to Coach Sampson as a mentor. Cougs still gonna win, should win. Not put anything out there. But UH women won by 20 over Florida A&M on Sunday. Their first road game this Friday, Friday, December 8th, first road game of the season. So 6 straight games at home. UH went 5-1. First road game at Commerce against A&M Commerce, 7 p.m. Coach Huey, got comments from Coach Huey and Cougs Layla Blair, posted on my Instagram, TikTok, and threads at Houston Roundball Review and on the Houston Roundball Review Facebook page. You can hear what they had to say about the first road game of the season. Paul, it is interesting to me as well why they're allowing Giddey to play during the investigation, because more and more I think his confidence, the more boos he receives, is going to impact his game negatively, which will hurt the team. I believe it was a deciding factor in the Rockets' 110-101 win last night, but it played a part because he was shook. Rice. HCU men got their first win of the season over Southwestern Adventist, 95-58, so they're now 1-6. Southwestern Adventist is not Division I, so it counts in the win column, but it does not count in the net rankings. But HCU, Saturday, I was at the Rice game, HCU at Rice. HCU led, I want to say about 11 early in the first half. And Rice came back and won by 9. That score, I tell you, 65-56. It was not a high-scoring affair. A lot of bricks in that game as well. But the men are 1-6. HCU women are 4-6. Younger team. You lost by a lot at Texas Tech. Won by 5 at Wichita State. Wichita State in the American. On the road in Wichita. 49-44. That same night, December 4th, Arkansas Pine Bluff from the SWAC beat SMU women's hoops. SMU in the American for one more season, but this last season. So that was a bad night for women's hoops in the American to lose to a SWAC school and a school from the Southland. Huskies women's team lost at Kansas, 79-57 Wednesday night. But ironically, HCU led at the end of the first quarter over a Big 12 school, 23-22. Kansas was without their best player, I'd say, Tiana Jackson, 6'6". Huskies don't have anybody to match her, but she was under the weather, so she did not play. So KU got it together, second and third quarters, and beat the Huskies. But then the Huskies freshmen won a fourth quarter. So maybe Coach Finney's women's team, their young team, may have a bright future down the line. So keep that in mind. Prairie View men and women are off this week. Finals, the next game not till the 10th. So this weekend, both games are on ESPN Plus. Big 12 now on ESPN Plus. Men are at Iowa State. The women are at TCU. TCU, Sedona Prince. Sedona Prince, I mentioned all this because I am a media voter for the Big 12 Women's Hoops Player of the Week and Freshman of the Week honors. I was asked if I wanted to take on that role this season. I said yes, wouldn't mind it. Sedona Prince had 10 blocks. 10 in one game 2 nights ago. 10 blocks. She's Sedona's 6'3", 6'4". It's going to be a tough matchup for the Cougs when they square off in conference play. Rice, men and women, you know about the struggles of the men's team. Women's team, Rice 5-3. Won last Saturday at A&M Corpus Christi. Got a big game this Saturday afternoon, inside to the field house, 2 o'clock. I won't be there, nor will I be at Fertitta Center. I'll be working the runoff election on Saturday, all day, all night. But Rice women hosting Gonzaga. Gonzaga women just blasted Stanford. So an indication that Gonzaga is really good. And they have 2 young ladies from the Houston area. The Trong twins are on that squad. So hopefully it's a good crowd inside to the field house on Saturday to see 2 good women's college basketball teams squaring off. Rice, Gonzaga, 2 o'clock to the field house. Rice women's team can use a quality win non-conference because their ranking is not great. And as you heard about the struggles of the other teams in the American, South Florida used to be usually the best team in the American for women's hoops. Their net's not very good either. So the American women's side is probably a 1-bid league. Again, think about this. Talking about the net in the closing moments of the Roundball Review Takeover. Big 12 women's basketball. I haven't checked the net today, but when the first net ranking came out on Monday, December 4th, the Houston Cougars women's team was the last ranked Big 12 team in the net. 14 teams, Cougs ranked 14th of the net rankings, but they're ranked 100. All 14 Big 12 women's teams were ranked in the top 100. All 14. I think Tuesday, Cincinnati became like 102, and the Cougs like 98, something like that. So roughly, all 14 are still 100, 105. All 14. So come conference play, I'll say all that to say this. UH women's basketball. Every Big 12 conference game for the Cougs, for Coach Huey and the Cougs, has the potential to be a top 1, tier 1, tier 2 game. They don't call them quads on the women's side like doing the men's side. So it's roughly 1 to 50, then 51 to 100 kind of thing. All of them. Big 12 men's hoops, I think it's UCF, West Virginia, and Oklahoma State. All 3 of those programs are outside of the top 100. So it's not last year for the fellas where every game will be a quad 1 or quad 2. But I am looking so very forward to Big 12 basketball, men's and women's. Coach Huey seemed to have changed his leadership, know-how, his teaching, his instructing for this year's team. We'll see if it pays off. They should win. Obviously, they should win at Commerce on Friday. They host Texas Southern on Tuesday the 12th. Early, I think it's going to be a Kids Day game. It's like 11 a.m. start inside Fertitta Center. And then they have Washington State from the Pac-12, Pac-2, on the road. It would really benefit the Cougs to win that game. Win at a power program. Washington State had a chance to beat them last year in Houston, didn't get it done. So we'll see if the Cougs women's team can get some quality wins. And then they face Rice on the 20th inside Fertitta Center. So Rice, Washington State are 2 chances for the Cougs women's team to get quality non-conference wins. They missed their first chance at home against Middle Tennessee. They lost by 25. 70-45 Middle Tennessee. You say, hey, Middle Tennessee is really good, Kris. Usually they are. Middle's next game, their very next game, Middle lost at Belmont by like 14. Belmont. Not a good look for coaching the program. But they have chances, non-conference, and then to make things happen in Big 12 conference play. We'll see if they can get it done. TSU, men's team, doesn't play again until 16th and 17th in Vegas, part of the CP3 HBCU Challenge. So the game against TSU women are at Fertitta at noon, not 11. Noon, my mistake. 6 Southern men's team is winless. Got chances to get off the snide on December 16th and 17th in Vegas. Lady Tigers are 1-5. They will probably lose to Houston. We 1-6. But both teams are getting better. TSU men, PJ Henry, the point guard for the Tigers, was named SWAC Impact Player of the Week. Not Player of the Week, Impact Player of the Week. 2 different honors that the SWAC gives out. One is for Player of the Week, and one is Impact. It's just like a different label. I'm not really sure how they distinguish between who gets what. But in losses, PJ Henry was named the SWAC Impact Player of the Week last week. So thank you, everybody, for your comments. Paul, who's going to be at the game on Saturday between the Cougs and Jackson State, is part of the Eracism theme. I'm on the board of directors for Eracism. Basically, obviously, based on where we made up, but it's a combination of to erase racism here in society. So I believe the players for both teams will wear Eracism shirts, pregame warm-ups. Coach Sampson usually comments on it, on the meaning of it, the benefit of the game. I'm usually the one who asks him about it post-game, but I won't be there. So hopefully somebody will ask Coach about it, about Eracism. And so it is a game of importance and should be competitive for a little while. Jackson State will probably come out, fired up those first few minutes. And then I think that Cougs defense will kick in, and the Cougs should run away with a victory and improve to 10-0. And then next Saturday, who has tickets? Doubleheader, Toyota Center. Longhorns, LSU first. Second game, Cougs and the Aggies. 1:30, part of the Halal Showcase at Toyota Center. Tickets still available. I'm assuming I have a credential. I filled out the application and everything. I'm assuming I have. I received all the paperwork, the media kit. But who has tickets? Who'll be at that game? Who'll be at the doubleheader next Saturday on December 16th? Cougs, Aggies. Aggies are ranked, I think, 21st in the coaches poll this week. Not sure where they are in the net. That's more important to me. Net, not the coaches or AP polls. Should be competitive. Cougs are better, but that's on paper. Games are not played on paper. Got to win on the court. So who has tickets to that game? I wonder if Coach Fritz will be there, because that'll be, the 16th will be 4 days before the December signing period for football. So he'll probably be out recruiting. Who knows? But as I said earlier in the show, and as Paul and other commenters, viewers have commented, it's a new era for Houston Cougars football. Some have said it's a grown-up era. Some have described it as complete 180 from the former coach. No argument for me on that one. Willie Fritz is in charge now of Houston Cougars football. Coach Fritz has won at every level. JUCO, Group of Five, etc. One reason he took the job at Houston is the Cougs are now in the Big 12, Power 5, Power 4. He wants to prove to those folks that he can win at this level. So Coach Fritz has that fire in the belly that President Khator wants in her coaches. Coach Fritz has it. He's on it. He does his thing. Make those plans, Tony. Make those plans. I'll be there. I'm not sure where I'm going to sit, but I'll be there December 16th. Coogs Aggies, Toyota Center, 1:30 p.m. kickoff, tip-off. So Tony, Paul, everyone who's chimed in here, Maisha, TK, Corey, thank you as always for your comments. Thank you for taking time during your lunch break to watch the Houston Roundball Review takeover of the lunch break on Throwback Thursday here on Facebook, Fire TV, Roku, YouTube, Twitch, courtesy of BS3 Network. Wrap it up. Subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends about the Houston Roundball Review. Tell your friends about the Roundball Review merch. Scan that QR code right there. Scan that code. Always remember, never forget. Always remember, since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Y'all take care. Peace.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Thursday, December 7th, 2023. Number 1, during a town hall recorded in Iowa with Fox News, former President Donald Trump continued his efforts to set his agenda if reelected. Several times, Fox host Sean Hannity asked the leading GOP presidential candidate whether he would use the presidency to abuse power, to bend the law, to use the government to get after people. And concluding his question, Hannity asked, under no circumstances, you are promising America tonight you would never abuse power as retribution against anybody? Donald Trump responded that he would not be a dictator, except for day one. I want to close the border and I want to drill. Number 2, Vice President Kamala Harris engaged in a speed round of diplomatic talks with Arab leaders Saturday, where she focused on shaping the outlook for a post-conflict Gaza, while calling on Israel to do more to protect Palestinian civilians from the devastating bombardment. One of the key messages from the Vice President was conveyed in a face-to-face meeting with the President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi of Egypt, where she unequivocally stated, under no circumstances will the United States permit the forced relocation of Palestinians from Gaza or the West Bank, the besiegement of Gaza, or the redrawing of the borders of Gaza. Number 3, in Allegheny County, Pennsylvania, the University of Pittsburgh conducted focus groups with Black residents to better understand vaccine issues. In that community, 1 in 5 residents lives below the poverty line. The strategies they tried included explaining how the vaccine works, from the ingredients to the side effects, and the impact on the individuals and their families. Finally, they shared the data about what happens when we don't get vaccinated, a greater chance of hospitalization than any other race, and a 16% higher mortality rate from the flu and pneumonia. Number 4, a white female police officer in Alabama is under investigation after video showed her tasing Michael Washington, a black man, while he was handcuffed in Reform, Alabama. She tased him in the back and she was holding it. She was just holding it there until he started crying. That from Jalexis Rice, Washington's girlfriend. Rice noted that the officer approached them when they were on the side of the road changing a tire. The involved officer is on administrative leave. Number 5, SZA, the R&B star, recently took to Twitter to share her candid thoughts on her mental and emotional well-being. No one teaches you how to enjoy your life. They teach you how to work for it, desire it, protect it, fight tooth and nail for it, pray for it, imagine it, manifest it. How do you process all the things you prayed for, she wrote in a series of tweets. She further expressed feeling anxious and experiencing FOMO, or fear of missing out, which often leads to a cycle of watching others' lives and feeling pressured to share more, all while attempting to live in the moment. Ooh, that's a lot, girlfriend. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Life is too short to waste time being around people who don't respect you. Say it. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with our mental health and wellness contributor, Aprilette Russell, and Yolanda Starks-White as we discuss today's top headlines and more. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partners, the American Heart Association and Black Health Matters. Barbara Scotia College and HBCU in Concord, North Carolina needs our help. The What You Need to Know team is asking supporters and alumni and friends of Barbara Scotia to help them meet their immediate and pressing needs by donating to help Barbara Scotia rise. Please join the thousands of donors from around the world who are stepping up to save one of the nation's oldest HBCUs. Please visit SybylWilkes.com for more information. I'm Sybil Wilkes. Be informed, be empowered.